I know I'm not the same Daniel I was 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago that some of you started watching, and I'm okay with that. I grew up a shy, quiet, bashful kid in the country, in the woods. Didn't hang out with a lot of girls. Didn't have a girlfriend until I was 16. Don't kill the messenger. I'm just saying, it's just a business. And the income that we've made off of social media and the internet is real, and I don't try to hide anything. I'm not here to hide anything. Buying land, buying property, building buildings, growing our business, helping my wife with a business, helping my wife build, quite honestly, a 6-figure business in our garage. Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I'm telling you, it's one of those beautiful, sunshiny, amazing days that I swear we never get more than about 5 of in a whole spring. Kelsey's doing Kelsey things. Earl's not here. He had to go to the groomer this morning, getting a haircut, but I don't really have a huge plan for the day, other than a lot of small things I need to catch up on. Maybe that means it's a boring video. I don't know. But I do know one thing. When you get stuck in these big projects, and, you know, like the pond, when I'm building the pond. Hey, Gemma, if you just bite her on the nose, she'd quit. Get stuck on those big projects that take up so much time. Things get behind, and have other things that I need to do. And mowing season is just around the corner. Probably, honestly, could mow right now. It's just weeds. I'm not going to do it. I'm not mowing. It's March 12th, and I don't feel like mowing the yard yet. But I do need to get the X-Mark mower started, loaded up, and take it to a buddy that's a mechanic. It's got a few little minor issues. And I also need to take in my big trash pump, because it's not trash pumping anymore. And I know so many of you are like, God, those are easy fixes. They are. There's a lot of easy fixes that I don't have time for. I've said all winter I was going to tear into that lawnmower and fix an idler pulley and a couple things, and it's still sitting there. So I'll do the right thing and take it to somebody that will fix it. But I've got other stuff. I've got a lot that needs to be done. I just, you get behind. I'm telling you, you get behind, and the more you accumulate, you know, between here and the merch building and the Mill Creek property and the lake house, the more you need help. And I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to admit that. We have a lot going on, and we're scattered a lot of different directions. And sometimes it's just easier to hire someone to get a job done. Charlie, please don't be a big dumb bird, okay? I really need to open this gate and drive the tractor in there for just a couple minutes. Are you gonna let me do that, or are you gonna try to get out, act a fool? Huh? Are you gonna act a fool? win. You lose. So I showed you guys this pasture the other day, and I said it was really greening up where Charlie and Isaac are hanging out. And since Isaac's the only grazing animal in this pasture, it's going to grow really fast. It's going to do really well. I do plan to fertilize it soon, maybe before the next rain, but this is a fall pasture mix. Hey, get off my shoulder. Oh, you gonna sit down with me? You gonna squat down here with me? Anyways, this is a fall pasture mix that I got from Whitetail Greens, and it's doing very well. It's going to explode this spring, I feel like. This weirdo won't get off my shoulder. But anyway, without having a bunch of animals grazing on it, it's giving it some time to look better, do better. So I do need to fertilize. But that's kind of why I moved that bale of hay over here, because the goat pasture, while it is greening up, it's not in quite as good a shape. There's a lot of grass in there that's nice and pretty and green, and as you can see, Pepper's enjoying it, but it's not going to have a chance to get near as tall as what it is in this pasture. So I know that Isaac's not going to be eating hay when he has green grass, but this little girl needs a lot of extra hay because there's not going to be enough grass to keep her and all the goats happy in there, at least not right now. The back pasture, I'll take you back there and show you that later maybe. It's doing really well. The donkey pasture, you know, obviously has had pressure on it all winter, and for the most part the donkeys have got off the hay and been over in the other field. But as you can see, this little girl can use a little extra roughage right now, and she'll enjoy that bale of hay, and I'm sure the goats will eat it too. Hey, dude, you're such a weirdo. You know, I really like you. I really do like you. But you're just a weirdo. Maybe we all are a little bit weird, huh? Would you open the gate for me, Kelsey? And then shut it back before Big Bird gets over here. Don't let Charlie out. Good job, Kels. You know you didn't do anything. Kels, move. All right, Charlie. It's all yours, buddy. I won't bother you for a while. I won't bother you at all. You just do your thing. Like everybody's gonna go check out the bale of hay, including Bear. Alright, I know some of you are a lot better mechanics than me, and I'm sure it's a simple, easy fix, but what I'm thinking I'm hearing, you hear that whining sound? I think I'm I'm gonna duck you guys down under there. There's a pulley underneath that comes out of the bottom of that engine, and that pulley needs to be replaced. It's got a bad bearing in it. Right? And like I said, sometimes it's easier just to take it to somebody else, because I've said all winter I was gonna get it fixed. And I'm leaving it running because I had to jump start it. The battery's a little weak from setting, so I'll let it sit here and charge its own battery up for a while. Probably time to replace the battery too, because this is May of 2020. That's a 5-year-old battery. Hard to complain about that. One other thing I don't want to forget before I head to town, I bought a broadcast seeder spreader from Tractor Supply the other day. It's been on the shelf so long it's faded out. The color's not even right. But it's a little over-the-shoulder spreader. My last one wore out because I need to spread some seed across the pasture over at the merch building. It's just like 3 bags of feed, and I really don't want to load this in the big, tow behind spreader and all that just to go spread 150 pounds of seed. So I'm going to do it with a cheap little over-the-shoulder spreader. It'll take me 30 minutes or something. So I'll do that after I drop this stuff off. What's up? What you little ones doing? Y'all are growing. Y'all are getting almost as big as Maggie. And she's a cow. Huh. Barry, you're way bigger than Maggie the cow. You know that? So, it's interesting to watch how your life evolves over time, how things change, how farm life changes. It's pretty cool with what I do on social media and producing content to be able to go back and see where we were, where we came from, the things we used to do. And, once upon a time, I never used the word homestead. Still don't, really. It's just in the name of my channel. Kind of a big thing. It wasn't something that we ever said about our lifestyle. But once upon a time, I stumbled upon a community of like-minded people on the internet. And they all went by this homestead name. A bunch of YouTube channels that was such and such family homestead or so-and-so's homestead. And I fell into a community of people that I could relate to, that were doing the same things we were doing, living the same kind of lifestyle. But really, honestly, here in southern Oklahoma, it's just country life. I mean, Arms Family Country Life did not sound like a cool YouTube channel name. So, you look back, and 10 years ago, I was a state trooper on a single income, doing all the side hustles that I could find to make extra income because my wife was a stay-at-home parent. We grew a big garden. We raised meat goats to put in the freezer. We put, not a beef like that, but we put a beef in the freezer every year. We raised, you guys have seen Willie the calf. You've seen Crazy Eyes the heifer. That we did eat a couple heifers. We did. We had Big Mac. We had Whopper. We've raised pigs. We had massive gardens. Had huge greenhouse. Did all the things. Goats have always been here. I grew up with a few goats when I was little bitty, and then none until Emily came along. When Emily was about not even 2 years old, DJ and I started getting a few goats. What in the world, Bear? What are you doing? Time to take a break? DJ brought home the first 2 goats. Their names were Johnny and June. They were pygmy boar goat crosses, and they were bottle babies. She brought them home in a diaper box, and they pretty much lived in our house and on our porch for the first few weeks until they destroyed everything we had. And Johnny and June were quite the interesting pair of goats. And from that start, I think at one time I got all the way up to about 30-ish does. And they've always just been a farm business in a sense. What you doing, Maggie? You want to come over for a visit? Are you trying to avoid bear? Big old bear. Are you scared of bear? Ghosts are over there eating your hay. Here comes Maggie. What do you think, sister? But quite honestly, goats were our farm business instead of cattle. You know, we live in a place that's covered in trees and brush and timber and briars and weeds. And goats made a really good farm business for us. And when you're talking business, you got to have some sort of livestock or hay operation or something to get a farm tax exemption in Oklahoma. And with that farm tax exemption, you get a tax break on a lot of things. You get a break on your taxes in general, and you can have a ton of write-offs. So that was our farm business. And we had, like I said, probably 30 does, and we were breeding them all the time and selling babies. And I could turn the goats out on brush, and they would just graze for, hours and hours and hours, and then they'd work their way back to the barn. And I feel like we're at a point where goats have kind of phased out. I still keep a few around because, well, they're just characters on the channel. You got Lambert, the bottle baby that we raised, and you got Skip. She was a bottle baby that Houston raised. We raised them on the channel. And some of the others are descendants of some of those too, and different things. I kind of feel like goats have phased out. A lot of folks say, well, why do you have mini donkeys? Well, because my wife wanted them to begin with, and it was kind of that transition of content and different things. We've switched things up a lot that doesn't make sense on a normal farm, but for a social media farm, it makes a lot of sense. Because if I still just ran 30 goats and that was all I did, the channel and the farm side of the channel would have never grown. And we used it as a business. So the farm business also turned into an online internet business. And I've made this joke for years that we're a glorified online petting zoo where people can come hang out with a few animals. And I know I don't do farm animal videos every time, and I don't include that a lot, and that's what a lot of people like. I get it. But in a sense, we're an online petting zoo. So we've had all the alpacas, the donkey poodles. We had Rufus. I called him the king of the alpacas. And all the stuff, all the shenanigans with Rufus was a blast. But for a farm standpoint, it didn't make a lot of sense. But from a business standpoint of an online internet petting zoo, it worked out perfectly. And it made sense. And over the years, we've done a lot of different things that we don't really fit into the homestead community as well anymore. We're not out here raising meat goats to butcher, 10 or 12 of them a year and put them in the freezer and sell meat. We're not raising a bunch of, feeder pigs to put in the freezer. We're not milking goats. We're not doing all those things. We have silly animals. Like this girl, who really doesn't serve any great purpose other than she's a pet and she's unique and fun and interesting, and people love her and we love her, and she's teeny tiny and nobody's ever seen a cow this small. But other than that, we're never going to get milk from her. We're never going to get beef from her. From a farm standpoint, it doesn't make sense. Online petting zoo, she's a superstar. And that's where we stand with like the mini donkeys. With Phoebe, Fallon, Farrah, all the things that started with the mini donkeys for DJ. Phoebe and Fallon kind of were the jump start for DJ's YouTube channel for another internet business. It's not necessarily homesteady, I get it, but it's a farm business. And speaking of homestead stuff, we will be at the Okie Homestead Conference. I'm the MC, just like last year. Anyways, we'll be there March 21st, 22nd coming up. If you want to come out and see us in Pryor, Oklahoma, tickets are on sale right now online. They're on Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Come hang out. Like I said, they'll have a ton of speakers that are very homestead topic specific, you know, gardening and farming and livestock and all the things and all the vendors and all the booths. But then the following day, I know this is off track, the following day, so 21st, 22nd, we'll be in Pryor, Oklahoma. We'll do, you know, hang out there. And then on the 23rd, we're going to shoot down to Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're not familiar with Oklahoma, Pryor's in northeast Oklahoma. I live in South Central, and then Fort Worth, Texas is down here below the border of Oklahoma and Texas, and nobody should ever go down there unless they just have to. But we're going to have to go down there on Sunday, the 23rd, for the Bassmaster Classic. Houston is like dying to go to the Bassmaster Classic, but we're going to be in the booth with the Trout Slayer, Trout Magnet, Crappie Magnet guys. I say Trout Slayer because that's their little Slayer kit that we're working on for us, that we're selling through them. But anyways, we're going to do a meet and greet in their booth, Trout Magnet, Crappie Magnet, I think at 11 a.m. in Fort Worth, Texas at the Bassmaster Classic event. Anyways, just some meet and greet ideas. So when it comes to the goats, Emily's 16. We've had goats around here since she was like 2, maybe not even quite 2. And they've been around forever. But they're really kind of being phased out of our farm because we really just don't use them, don't utilize them the way we used to. We don't put any more in the freezer like we used to do. I didn't mind eating goats. They were a great, Kiko goats make a great meat product. But when we're talking internet business and an online petting zoo, you're muddying the waters a little bit. And I understand that. I did that intentionally for years because, yes, these are farm animals. And, yes, we can take them and sell the babies, and they're probably going to go off to be processed. Or we can put 2 or 3 in the freezer to feed our family. That really kind of doesn't mix well with folks that are here for animals like these 2 yahoos that are here just to enjoy them. And if we're going to be more online petting zoo-ish, you know, there's nothing wrong with raising a steer every year and putting it in the freezer, but we're still going to have those people that say, save whoever, let's start a fund to save whoever and keep them on the farm forever. And that is for some channels, but I'm not going to keep a 2,000-pound steer on my farm forever. It's just too dangerous, and I don't want anybody to get their foot stepped on and broken. So, internet business. Our life has dramatically evolved over the last 10 years. I mean, I can't even begin to describe how much our life for our family has evolved over the years because of this little camera and you guys and all the things. And it's been such a learning process of the business side of it. I mean, anybody can come out here and shoot a video talking to animals and all that, but when you start breaking down the business side of it, the nuts and bolts and the making a living off of it, spring is almost here and the flies are already out. Anyways, the business side of it takes a lot of learning, and we've evolved the channel over the years to fit that business model. And you know, some folks disagree with the way we run our channel, and I get it. I understand. I'm not mad at them for it. I know it's changed, but quite honestly, we've changed. We've changed. Our family has evolved. Our family has changed over the years. My wife and I's relationship has evolved and changed over the years. My kids have evolved and changed over the years. Our entire farm, minus maybe the original goat herd here, has evolved and changed. And the reasons that we don't just have the greenhouse and plant a garden and go and do gardening videos every spring is the business side of it. First off, I don't really have the free time. I know this sounds silly. The garden, and I told you guys this years ago, the garden was my stress reliever from my day job. It was a stress reliever from being a state trooper and being in law enforcement. And I used it as a side hustle to sell vegetables to feed my family, and then later on as a side hustle to make content to teach people how to grow vegetables to feed their family. And it takes a lot of time. It absolutely does. If you've ever grown a garden, you know it takes a lot of time. And it's just not a passion of mine anymore. As Houston has grown up, when he was little, he was the watermelon king. He loved growing watermelons. He loved growing carrots. He loved seeing seeds put in the ground and turning into something. And now, quite honestly, he doesn't enjoy it. He's a 12-year-old boy. His hobbies are more along the lines of football and golf and fishing and hunting and all that stuff. So it would be silly of me to sit down there in a garden for 2, 3, 4 hours a day to produce content when I've got a family that wants to be doing other things. And that was one thing that I didn't quite see and I didn't understand even before I started YouTube. The garden was a huge drain on my time, I guess you could say. My wife didn't enjoy it. It was not her hobby. I grew a ton of vegetables and I fed our family and I sold vegetables, but it was a distraction from my marriage. Not that anything bad ever happened, and I didn't see it at the time, but years later I look back and she's even told me there was a lot of days I spent 2 or 3 or 4 hours in the garden when I should have been spending 2 or 3 or 4 hours with her. And that was my mistake. So I'm not going to go out and produce content that's going to pull me away from my priorities nowadays. But on the business side of things, just like a couple days ago, I read a comment. Somebody was kind of grappling because they were like, why are you showing you and your wife working out in your new gym shop? You're just showing off. I was like, listen, you're not quite understanding what's going on here. First off, that's quality time that my wife and I are spending together, doing something we both enjoy. And that's just the facts. And we bring you guys along and we share with you our lives and our passions and our things that we want to be doing. And we try to inspire folks and we try to make their day a little bit better. And we try to challenge them to do things, challenge them to do something hard. I know a CrossFit workout's not for everybody, and it doesn't need to be. But for some people, doing something hard today means getting outside in, 32 degrees and going for a half a mile walk around their neighborhood. That's something hard for folks, and that's great. But on the business side of things, this little camera, this little social media platform is where I make my income. And when you're talking business expenses are tax write-offs. And I know this sounds silly, but I live in a very unique world as far as a job. And I understand that. I've come to know that over the years. It's not for everybody, but it works for us. Now, if we go in there in our gym and we outfit a gym and we start showing all of that and we start showing our workouts and we start showing our progress and we're talking about it and we're hanging out in there, isn't that a business expense? I'm using that gym equipment to make content to show you guys, to help inspire folks. It's no different than a company car in a way. And it's a business. Okay, don't kill the messenger. I'm just saying it's just a business, and I'm not going to spend time in the garden while my wife's off doing something of her own, and we're not in the same interest in the same world, because I've made those mistakes, and I have to admit that now. Not that gardening was a bad thing, and not that my wife was off doing bad things all the time, or I was off doing bad things, but when she was sitting in the house and I'm in the garden and we're 200 feet apart and we don't speak for 3 hours, that doesn't make for a great relationship. Just being honest. So I know I'm rambling a lot today, and I'm not complaining about anyone or anything or any of you. I don't mind haters' comments. I don't mind mean, rude comments. I mean, they do kind of stick with you sometimes, but that's part of the business. It's part of what I do, and I'd like to keep you guys in the loop. I want you guys to understand our point of view. I want you guys to understand why we make some of the choices we do and some of the things we do for content. Whether it's spending 3 months over here building a pond that's a lot closer to my house than a lot of folks ever realized. It's just literally right there. We just or on the backside of the dam and you can't see the water. But whether it's building a pond or using the skid steer and cleaning up my neighbor's property, removing cedar trees, or cutting cedar trees at Mill Creek, or deer hunting at Mill Creek, or fishing in Florida, or any of the hundreds of things that we've done on this YouTube channel that we call a Homestead channel. I don't want anybody to get confused as to our intent and what we're doing. I'm not an expert in everything. I just bring you guys along for the adventure because for whatever reason, a lot of folks seem to think that my day-to-day boring normal life, in my opinion, is interesting. And that I have something useful to share. I grew up a shy, quiet, bashful kid in the country, in the woods. Didn't hang out with a lot of girls. Didn't have a girlfriend until I was 16. Just a country boy. Not a homesteader. I just fell into a community of like-minded folks who all called themselves homesteaders. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm not going to sit out here and continue to do the same things and get the same results year after year after year and expect things to be different. We are legitimately about to hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. We're just a couple thousand away from 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And if I go back and I look at all of the videos, the thousands of videos I've posted on YouTube in the last 10 years, yes, there are some goat videos towards the top. There's some gardening videos towards the top. But there's also a lot of just the normal, random stuff that I do. The playing at the creek with the kids and catching crawfish and creek monsters and all the things and the hunting and that people enjoy. I'm not going to corner myself into doing something, producing content that I don't enjoy. So, I want to bring you guys along on everything and anything that we do, whether it's growing a tomato in a greenhouse, talking to a big livestock guardian out here as he watches over the goats, playing with Rufus, the crazy wild alpaca that we had, buying land, buying property, building buildings, growing our business, helping my wife with a business, helping my wife build, quite honestly, a 6-figure business in our garage, or buying a lake house and hanging out with my family and bringing you guys along for that adventure and letting you guys come rent an Airbnb lake house. Like, I know I'm not the same Daniel I was 5, 7, 8, 10 years ago that some of you started watching, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. I've evolved and grown and changed and learned a lot and made mistakes and made successes, had successes and had failures, and rescued pigs from a lagoon down the road and done all kinds of fun, crazy stuff. And I really, truly, honestly believe that I am right where God intended me to be. I'm right where He put me, and I don't know where that's going to be 5 years from now. It might not be building ponds and cutting down cedar trees and talking to mini donkeys and goats and spreading seeds across pastures. I don't know. I don't know where that's going to be. I don't know where all this is going to lead. I don't know what the future holds. But I know my wife and I took a big leap of faith with this YouTube channel. And we took a big leap of faith when I quit my career, when I walked out on a career that nobody really likes to walk out on. Being a state trooper in Oklahoma, you stay 20 plus years, 20, 25, 30, 35. There's guys that stayed 40 years. But that wasn't me. That wasn't what God intended. That wasn't where God wanted me to be. And I truly believe that if this fly would leave me alone, I'd be much happier. And I'm very thankful for where we are. I'm very thankful for where my family's at. And we're going to continue to do our best to follow where we feel like the Lord's leading us. And hopefully it's continued success for our family. And who knows, maybe it's not. But I do thank you for being here. I do thank you for being a part of our family, a part of our farm, a part of all the things that we've done. It truly does mean a lot to us. And I love you for it. You guys have helped me change the entire course of my family's life. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just talking about money. the income that we've made off of social media and the internet is real, and I don't try to hide anything. I'm not here to hide anything. But it has completely changed the course of my life, my family's life, in so many other ways, in so many great ways. We've been blessed beyond measure, and I'm thankful for that. So, sorry for rambling, sorry for talking forever today. It's a beautiful day, and I could sit out here and talk for hours. Oh, man, I could sit out here and talk for hours. Oh, before I forget, before I end, DJ and I are doing a live video Friday, March 14th. So, spring launch. Houston's new hats are coming out. We've got all the goat's milk soap from Simon Says Farms, not from our goats, not from our farm. We partnered once again with Aaron and his family from Simon Says Farms. They have a huge dairy goat operation and make soap, and we're actually adding lotion this time. So DJ's got 3 different kinds of soap and some goat's milk lotions, plus all the rest. You know, Maggie Mae's got her own t-shirt coming out. DJ's got, that one, plus another fishing shirt, Houston's hats, all the things. So we'll be live on YouTube and Facebook on Friday, just like we always do for our merch launch. So we hope to see you there. Guys, remember, do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know, it just might change the world. So guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.